All right, what is going on, guys? This is Coach Munir, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to get back in shape. If you used to be in shape in your early 20s, but in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond, you've kind of gotten more busy with life, and the pressures and stresses from other areas of life have caused you to gain 20, 30, or even more pounds of weight, and you've struggled to lose it, and maybe you've tried doing the same old workouts, you've tried eating the same way, whatever else, and you've struggled to actually get back in shape. So I put together a very deep dive little thing for you guys here where we're going to dive deep into rebuilding the foundations of getting back into working out consistently, even if it's been a few years and even if your body's deconditioned. And by the end of this video, you're going to know how to set up your schedule, even if you're super busy, to make it easy to stay consistent. So even if you run a business, even if you have a high pressure career, you're going to know how to set up your schedule. I'm also going to teach you the habits that will allow you to make things actually enjoyable and make this feel pretty much automatic instead of taking a ton of effort. I'm also going to teach you how to recover from your workouts. Even if you're older, you have more stress, and your recovery isn't as fast as it was in your teens and early 20s when you used to work out more consistently. And of course, I'm also going to show you how to warm up your body, fix your posture, especially if you work in front of a desk for 8, 12 plus hours a day. This is really, really important. And then, of course, everybody's favorite topic, which is nutrition and what to actually eat to speed up your metabolism. And obviously, that's going to help you with boosting your energy and your testosterone levels in your 30s and 40s while getting faster results. So, and time into the whole metabolism angle, like the main outcome with everything that we do here, I mean, obviously there's a number of calories you should eat, there's building muscle, there's, sharpening up your mindset, but everything is kind of focused on getting your metabolism back to where it was when you were younger, and ultimately kind of reversing the aging process, because you're going to feel less stressed, more youthful, more energetic, more excited to crush the day when you fix your metabolism. But if you have a slow metabolism, you'll find that you easily feel tired, burnt out without, if you don't take a bunch of coffee. And when you take a bunch of coffee, it actually increases your stress levels anyways, even if it gives you energy to get through the day. So if you're stressed, tired, and burnt out, your metabolism is probably slow. If you find that when you've done weight loss type stuff in the past, like diets, cardio, training, whatever else, you found that you tend to retain fat in your stomach, and obviously you struggle to lose it there, and you also tend to gain it there first when you rebound. If you stop a diet or if you go through a stressful phase of your life, you end up overeating, being stressed, gaining weight, and then obviously if you've tried doing like the low calorie stuff and cardio, and maybe you lost weight, but you still had a gut, and then you hit a plateau after a few weeks, couldn't sustain, and then rebounded. These are all kind of signs and symptoms, but also things that lead to having a slower metabolism in addition to aging and being stressed. So I'm actually going to start from the bottom of this whole entire thing and go into nutrition first. Now, nutrition is one of the most popular questions I get, probably because there's a ton of confusion in the diet industry about, what to actually eat. Because, some people tell you keto, some people tell you intermittent fasting, some people tell you carb backloading, some people tell you paleo, some people tell you low carb, some people tell you high carb, some people tell you 6 meals a day, some people tell you 1 meal a day, some people tell you 2, 4, 3. I mean, look, a lot of this stuff has to do with your lifestyle, and I'll show you how we set all this stuff up. But yeah, that's we'll dive into this right now. So obviously, when you're in your early 20s, your teens, nutrition's super easy. You kind of just eat whatever you want. Your metabolism's fast, and as long as you work out, you easily get and stay in shape. But in your 30s, your 40s, and even your late 20s, and obviously in your 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever age you are when you're watching this, you're probably not in your early 20s. And if you are, and you already have a slow metabolism, well, this will help you as well. But you need to account for inflammation and cortisol, okay? Because your stomach's going to get more sensitive when you get older, and you're going to be more sensitive to inflammation, and you're going to have higher cortisol because you've taken on greater stress within your career or your business, within your family life. If you're still single when you're older, then obviously that can also be stressful, but then obviously having a marriage and having kids is stressful. So no matter what you are, you're going to have more stress as you get older. Plus, your natural testosterone levels do slightly decline, which can lead to the metabolism slowing. And the metabolism itself doesn't really slow significantly. It's more so the stress that causes our metabolism to slow. So really, it's more like the older you get, the more stress you take on in your life, the higher your cortisol, the stress hormone, and cortisol then lowers testosterone and thyroid hormone, which are directly correlated with metabolism. So even if you're older, you can speed up your metabolism by lowering your cortisol, because your metabolism doesn't slow on its own until really your 60s. But, again, the cortisol, which is a byproduct of getting older and taking on more stress in your life, is what slows down your metabolism. So your metabolism isn't slow because you got older. Your metabolism is slow because you have more cortisol, okay? Also, when you get older, your stomach is more sensitive, so it's easier for you to get inflammation from eating certain foods, and inflammation leads to more cortisol as well. And then again, like I said, the cortisol leads to the slow metabolism. And then also you need greater time efficiency because, again, you're not going to have as much time to, prep food and all that stuff. So you might end up eating out. A little hack that you can do for this is just ordering from a meal prep company. Even I've done this at many stages, including right now where I'm very busy in my business, and it's helped me a lot with being on point with my nutrition without having to spend a lot of time cooking and actually save money, especially considering that my time is worth more than the amount of money that I pay to have these meals prepped for me. But again, that depends on how much you make. Now, let's go into inflammation first. So there are 5 food groups that I have new clients cut out when they first start, so we can assess inflammation, okay? So what I mean by assessing inflammation is we want to see which of these foods, cutting them out, improves your inflammation. When we cut out all 5, even if only 1 or 2 of them was reduce inflammation, you'll notice that your inflammation goes down, and then we add them back in one by one so we can assess which ones actually made a difference and which ones didn't. So, I have people cut out dairy, gluten, soy, pesticides, and processed foods. Then week 2, let's say you're really craving milk, or you're really craving, whatever other dairy that you really like, yogurt, then we can try adding it back in. And if you add it back in, you feel great, and you don't get bloating, and you don't get brain fog, and you don't feel tired and crappy and puffy and just crappy overall, then you probably tolerate dairy well. But if you add it back in and you feel like crap, okay, cool. We cut out dairy the following week, and then we test out gluten. Okay, and let's say the gluten, you feel great, you get great pumps in the gym, you feel really good, the bread tastes amazing, the pasta tastes amazing, and you feel good, then there you go. You can keep gluten in. But if you add gluten back in, you satisfy that pasta craving, you satisfy that, bread craving, and you feel like crap. Well, guess what? Because you feel like crap, you're going to be intrinsically motivated to not eat those things, because now you've made a mind-to-stomach connection that when you eat certain foods, it makes you feel like crap, and you don't want to feel like crap. You've got a high-pressure, job, business, life, marriage, trying to be single, whatever else you're dealing with in your life. You've got a lot of pressure, which is why you got out of shape in the first place. So, when you have all that stress and pressure, you're obviously going to be more intrinsically motivated to make sure that you feel good all the time when you realize how good you feel when you cut out certain foods. But only by cutting them out will you realize how good you feel without them, if they even made a difference. Soy, I typically have guys keep this out like all the time. I've only had like a handful of clients that actually tolerate soy well. Pesticides, this is another one where for 10 to 20% of people, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But for most people, especially when you get older, your stomach's going to be very sensitive to pesticides, which is why it's important that you eat organic or at least all natural. And, some people have an objection to this because it costs more. And, again, it's your decision. Like, you either pay the farmer today, you pay the pharmacist tomorrow. The least you can do is test it out for a week and see whether it makes a difference. And you'll be pretty blown away by how much better you feel. And guess what? Let's say that you're strapped for cash. You're going to make more money when you feel better anyways. So there you go. It'll pay for itself. And obviously, if you have money, there's no excuse not to buy organic food and actually eat clean. And then processed foods, same thing. If you do your proper meal prep, and I can post. I actually have a food channel, so if I can, I'll try to link some videos from that. But obviously, if you want me to send you my food channel, just comment down below, and I'll send you my YouTube channel with more food on it, and just recipes and stuff like that, so you can learn how to meal prep. But if you're just really busy, then you might as well just hire a good, organic meal prep company. And there's a couple of recommendations I have there. I'm testing a couple right now because I just got back into the meal prep company game, so I'll keep you guys posted on that in future videos. Right now, there's only really a couple I'd recommend, but I'm going to test out a bunch so that I have more recommendations and can even ship that out to clients, or just let you guys know which ones are good. But anyways, so yeah, we cut out all the shitty foods, right? These 5 food groups, and we see what makes a difference, and that gives us intrinsic motivation to not have those in. When we start to fix your inflammation, you're going to find that you have more energy, just like you did when you were younger and you weren't as sensitive to inflammation, you weren't as stressed. You're going to notice that your metabolism gets faster, because when you have less inflammation, you have less cortisol, which means your testosterone and thyroid hormone go up, which speeds up your metabolism, makes you feel better overall. And like I said, you're going to feel better. You're not going to feel bloated, and you're not going to feel puffy, which is great. And then you're also going to have less stress, because your cortisol is physiologically decreasing, which means that you'll be able to handle more inside of your career or business and inside of your other areas of life that cause stress for you. And then obviously, if we can psychologically reduce stress there, which goes beyond the scope of this video, but I have another video on my channel called the Cortisol Masterclass. Just comment if you want me to send that to you, or just pop over to my channel and find it. It's a couple of videos down. It'll definitely help you out. And obviously, if you're getting value from this, please do subscribe, because I'm going to be putting out a lot more content just like this to make sure that you guys get value over time, and I can really just help as many people as possible and really build my YouTube. But anyways, tying it back in with the point about inflammation, some of the inflammation stuff is genetic as well. Okay, and I'll give you a personal example of this. So when it comes to inflammation, I'll just pop back over to my face here. So personally, for many years I ate chicken, right? In my teens and my early 20s, and chicken was actually a great food source for me during that time. But I think it was around age 24, it wasn't even that old, but I started to notice that chicken would give me inflammation. I'd have a stuffy nose, I'd feel bloated, I wouldn't have much of an appetite after eating chicken, and I kind of just felt like crap. And while my metabolism stayed pretty fast, I started switching more to like red meat, turkey, all that stuff, and I noticed that I felt better eating those things as opposed to eating the chicken, which is kind of unconventional, because a lot of people say, oh, don't do red meat, but red meat can actually be a very, very good thing. It just depends on you and your genetics, and obviously choosing the right types of red meats. Like if you're eating like processed hot dogs, obviously that's going to be really bad for you and your inflammation and your fitness results. But if you're eating grass-fed, organic sirloin steak, that's really, really good for you, and it doesn't have that many calories for how much protein it has, and the fat calories are actually going to be good because it's a lot of omega-3s because it's grass-fed and it tastes really good, right? So it just depends on the person. Likewise, I have other clients who don't digest red meat well, and actually as your microbiome changes, which also goes beyond the scope of this video, but if you want me to cover some more stuff on microbiome, just comment, let me know, and I'm happy to go into what I know about the microbiome. But as your microbiome changes, those things might shift. Like recently I've added chicken back in and I've tolerated it pretty well. In fact, the other day I had turkey and I noticed I got inflammation and indigestion from it, which was interesting. And your microbiome is always shifting, so it's important to know what to look for. And again, that's just inflammation. If you feel inflammation when you eat something, it's probably not something that you want to keep in your diet, okay? But then obviously you can experiment adding that thing back in moderation with high quality versions of that food to maybe see if your microbiome has shifted and you're better able to tolerate those things. And I'm actually open to trying dairy and all that stuff in the future, but the last time I had dairy, I felt pretty screwed up. So I'm pretty intrinsically motivated not to touch it because I don't want to feel sick and gross. Cool. So let's pop back into this. So again, there's a genetic component. As long as you can experiment this, and really nail it. And again, I guide my clients through this, but you don't necessarily need me to guide you through this because you already have the knowledge. So all you got to do is just check in with yourself and say, hey, how do I feel after I eat this? Okay, do I feel like crap? Okay, maybe I shouldn't eat it. How do I feel after I eat this? Do I feel good? Do I have energy? Do I notice that my fitness results are better? Does my body temperature go up and I feel like a freaking champion? Well, obviously that's something that your body processes well, and it's a food that you should keep in your diet. And, obviously if you eat it every single day, your body might kind of get tired of it and build up a quote unquote tolerance. You might notice you start getting inflammation. So it's important to rotate certain foods. But again, it depends on your genetics and what your ancestors ate and what your stomach enzymes and microbiome have evolved to be able to digest. Cool. So anyways, that is as far as I'm going to go into this particular topic. But obviously if you guys have questions on this, just comment down below and I'll do a future YouTube video on this. The next point I want to dive into is how to warm up and fix your posture. So a little joke here, when you're in your teens or early 20s, how do you warm up? You put weights on the bar and you lift, but not in your 20s, 30s, and 40s and beyond. When you're older and maybe you work in front of a desk 8 to 12 plus hours a day, maybe your posture isn't as good as it used to be. Maybe you have some old injuries, whatever else it may be, or maybe you're just stiff and because you haven't worked out as much as you used to, you really need to make sure that you work on your posture and that you warm up properly before you lift. So, I could do a deeper video on this, and I have a couple videos that go into this, including the deadlift video I just put out recently on how to warm up for your deadlift. But there's a couple things you need to do. There's 4 steps to what's called the corrective exercise continuum. And the first step is you need to be able to loosen up locked muscles and the knots in these muscles. So sometimes you have muscles that are locked short and sometimes you have muscles that are locked long. So I'll actually pop over to myself here so you can see me. So I recently went to this amazing physical therapist named Sumer Basine. He's his Instagram name is The Unstoppable Baller. The guy's amazing and he is the Unstoppable Baller. And he works with a lot of professional basketball players. And he and I met in a business mastermind. I helped him out a little bit with his business, and he obviously helped me with my body. And I've been to many physical therapists and I've learned varying degrees of this. Everybody has a bit of a different take on it, but this guy really helped me out a lot. And what he showed me was that my right side is locked long, my left side is locked short. So what I had to learn how to do was fix that. And he obviously fixed that by doing some manual work on me, giving me some corrective exercises and giving me some good strengthening exercises to maintain and retain those benefits. But you're going to find that some muscles are locked short and some are locked long. And sometimes that's lopsided. Like let's say that you always drive like this with your left hand forward, okay? Guess what's going to be locked short? Probably your left shoulder and your chest. Guess what's going to be locked long? Maybe your right side. Or maybe you write like this with your right hand and you're like this all the time. You're on the computer like this and you're on your mouse like this. Okay, guess what's going to be locked short? Your traps, your shoulder, all that stuff. Guess what's going to be locked long? This. So you got to roll both sides. And I have this posture playbook, which I'm going to screen share with you in a second. And I'll either attach a link below or you could just comment and I'll send it to you, depending on whatever works better. But the whole idea here is that if you have these muscles that are locked in certain positions that makes them biomechanically disadvantageous, then we need to be able to release those things so that they can be in a more biomechanically optimized position to be able to safely lift and not cause injuries. Because if you're that person who tries to work out like you did in your teens and early 20s, but you're in your 40s now, guess what? You're probably going to get injured. You've probably tweaked your knees, your shoulder, your back, your neck, whatever else it may be. So we want to be able to fix those things, and we want to be able to fix those things with specificity, which again, I'll screen share the posture playbook in a sec, and you guys will be able to see exactly what that looks like. But the principle first, before I go into this, is again, you want to foam roll and loosen up the locked muscles. Sometimes you need to use a golf ball. Sometimes you need to use a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball to get into some of the, nooks and crannies. But most of the stuff you can address with a foam roller, and you'll see a huge difference just from applying the posture playbook exercise, which I'll show you in a sec. And I've also got other videos on this channel that show you how to foam roll and do all that stuff. So make sure to check those out on my channel. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Once you've done that, again, I have videos on this too. you got to stretch the muscles back in proper alignment, because now that we've loosened things, now we need to stretch the muscles that are kind of tight and put them back in alignment. And then from there, we need to activize the stabilizer muscles in isolated movement, which then will help you to bring those muscles and those joints into proper alignment and hold those things more easily because the stabilizers are now active. And then finally, we integrate that into dynamic movement, and then we use light weights at first just to lock in the new technique, the proper technique, and then we slowly warm up to our max weight intensity. So this takes time. And I know that I'm talking about time constraints and all that stuff, yet I'm giving you something here that takes more time. Also, I just realized that I wasn't on my screen here. But that's the biggest thing, is you got to be able to follow these 4 steps. Otherwise, you're just jumping into a workout with a body that's out of alignment and you're risking injury, and that's why you might have tweaked stuff in the past. Okay, so make sure that you're following these 4 steps, and I'll go into the posture playbook. I also have other YouTube videos on this. So let me pop into this posture playbook for you guys real quick and show you what that looks like. So essentially, I've put this guide into a couple things, and again, I'll either attach the link below or whatever else. But again, I dive into the same thing, right? There's knots in your fascia that are stopping you from getting into the proper alignment. You have tight, shortened, and lengthened muscles, right? Which we need to be able to put into the right alignment, like I just said. There are muscles that are underactive and you're not able to activate them, and these muscles are required to be in the proper alignment when we move and to stabilize the proper position of our joints. And then when we get to the main movement patterns like squat, bench, deadlift, overhead press, pull-ups, all these other main lifts, your movement patterns might also be off, because again, if these things are already off, then guess what else is going to be off? The main lift, right? So we got to be able to do the 4-step corrective exercising continuum and release the knots using, foam rolling, body work, whatever else it is. And again, I've got this video, my foam rolling video guide, on my YouTube, so check that out on the channel. It's called Foam Rolling Mistakes, and it shows you the common mistakes people make when they're foam rolling, because you may have tried foam rolling before and not gotten results from it. I'm going to show you those mistakes and how to do it properly inside of that YouTube video. You got to be able to stretch the specific muscles that are tight in your body. So I have a bunch of shoulder stretches on my channel too, as well as some lower body stretches. Activate the right muscles and then integrate into compound dynamic movement. So again, plenty of other videos on that. And then you just need to be consistent with that stuff, right? Now, as far as actually fixing some specific posture deficits, one of the most common ones is forward head posture if you tend to use the computer a lot. So just make sure that you're obviously fixing that using the 4-step continuums to do the foam rolls, mostly for chest, traps, serratus, lats, abs and hip flexors, upper back. And obviously, if you have a bodywork practitioner who's really good in your area, definitely go to them because they can fix that manually for you. The other thing too is you want to use the Shoulder Saver 6 series stretch, because a lot of this comes from shoulder tightness, which is why your head is forward. And then from there, we need to be able to do the right exercises that activate the posture muscles that hold your shoulder blades in the right place with some of these exercises I also have on my YouTube channel. And then you also want to do the iso position warm-up and the upper back pain cure, which are a series of exercises that I've put together and gotten from some of my mentors that allow you to really fix up and put into integrated dynamic movement the muscles that will allow you to hold normal non-forward head posture, so proper head posture. Upper cross syndrome ties in with this as well. They're pretty much hand in hand, where when this stuff is tight, it pulls your head forward. And then there's also something called lower cross syndrome, which again is when you have anterior pelvic tilt. All of us have this. I have this to a degree too, because I spend a lot of time sitting. You can fix this with a standing desk, but for some people that might not be 100% practical, so you just need to know how to warm this up and fix it on a daily basis. Cool, and then I've got the videos there. Now, let's pop back into this right here. And again, if there's anything you want me to go deeper into, or if you watch those other videos inside of that guide or on my channel and you're still confused on anything, don't be confused. Literally just message me and I'm happy to create more videos on this. The more video ideas you give me, the more videos I'll put out, which benefits everybody. It benefits you, it benefits other people with the same problems that you're dealing with. And it also benefits me because it gives me more content to put out that's relevant to you guys. Cool, so now let's dive into pillar 3. So that's gonna be recovery. Now, a lot of busy guys, they struggle with recovery because they're too busy for recovery, or so they think. The problem though is that if you're so busy, well, why are you so busy? Are you being as productive as you could be? What if you could get, twice as much done in half the time? Would you then be so busy? No, you'd be able to take on more work if you wanted to, but you'd also have more free time to do things like recovery. But ironically, you need proper recovery in order to be productive, because when you have proper recovery, it lowers your stress and therefore you're more productive at work and in your business, and thus, you are no longer burnt out and tired, so you're more productive. Now, obviously, if you're okay with still being burnt out, tired, and not as productive as you could be, not producing the best results in fitness or in your business, and if you're okay with drinking 10 coffees a day and feeling stressed and getting insomnia, then just skip this. But if you actually want to improve and feel good and feel excited and fired up to crush it every single day like in your early 20s, and because you're so excited and your energy's so good, you barely need any coffee, if any at all, then pay attention and apply what I'm about to teach you. So this pillar is sleep. Okay, it's not sexy. There's a million people are going to tell you I have this special recovery method that is super amazing. Cryotherapy, all that stuff, and that stuff's great. Sauna cryotherapy is amazing, and I highly recommend it too. It's good for your immune system, all that stuff. But obviously sleep. If you don't have your sleep on point, you could do all of the herbs and all of the sauna and all the special stuff in the world, but you're still not going to have the best recovery if you don't sleep enough. And guess what? You need 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. Now you're like, oh crap, well, I work 80 hours a week. I work 100 hours a week. I don't have time to sleep. Well, guess what? There's 168 hours in a week. And then you might say, oh, well, I got to spend time with my family. I got to spend time with my wife or husband or whoever. And if you're single, you're like, oh, I got to go meet people and, all that stuff so that I can find somebody. But end of the day, you got to get your sleep, because if you get your sleep, guess what? You're happier, you're less stressed, you're more productive at working in your business, you're a more positive person to be around, which means that your partner is going to be happy, your future partner is going to be happy, or people that you're meeting, your kids are going to be happier, everybody's going to be happier. So it's funny because one of my mentors once told me something, and I'm going to come off screen share so I can really impress this upon you. But one of my mentors once told me, and this is 100% true, I've applied this and seen the results in my life, which is when you do what's best for you, you do what's best for everybody around you. When you prioritize other people over yourself because you got to do what's best for them and family comes first, business comes first, and you put yourself last, guess what happens? The suboptimal version of you who hasn't filled their own cup can barely pour into the cups of others, versus the version of you who fills their cup first can let their cup run over into the cups of other people. It's funny because every self-development thing talks about this, but there's a reason they talk about it, which is, even on the plane, they tell you, put on your mask before you put on the masks of others for the oxygen. Because guess what? If you pass out because you put on your oxygen mask on your kid first, now your kid is helpless. They have an oxygen mask, but now what? Their parent is dead. Right? So I know it sounds morbid, but it's true. You got to make sure that you take care of yourself first. When you do what's best for you, you do what's best for everybody around you. Clear? All right, good. Any questions, any objections? Comment down below. Let's spark some debate. I'm happy to debate you in the comments here. There's going to be somebody who comments and says, no, I need to put family first. I don't have time to sleep and be healthy and stuff. I'm okay with dying 10 years early and, feeling like crap and being miserable and setting a bad example for my kids and being cranky with my partner, all that stuff. And you know what? If you actually think that that's better, then go do that. But I can promise you right now, you sleep 7-8 hours a night, you're going to feel amazing, and your family's going to be way happier too, as well as everybody else in your life. So let me pop back over to my screen share here. So again, I appreciate you if you have the discipline to hustle and only sleep 4 to 6 hours a night. I did that for many years, but it's killing your hormones and your productivity, and it's killing your results in fitness. So you got to stop that right now, and you got to be on point. So there's a couple other things you can do for recovery. Walking and meditation is great, and this is great for business too. I was actually having a conversation with a client yesterday, and he was, he had hit a plateau. He's lost 11 pounds so far in his first 5 weeks, which is great. He's on track. He lost 10 pounds in his first 4 weeks, but obviously his results have slowed down a little bit in week 4. So we have to be able to, increase things. So I told him, okay, we need to up your walking a little bit. Do you have time to do that? And he said, yeah, actually, I love walking. It helps me to think about business, right? And it's actually helped him to make more money. And this happens with all of my clients, right? And this happens with me too. And sometimes I screw up on this. I'm not sitting here trying to claim I'm perfect, but end of the day, when you walk, it's going to help you. It's going to help you to plan. It's going to help you to get clear. It's going to help you to not be triggered. It's going to help you to not be stressed. And it's going to help you to come up with new ideas that will allow you to move forward and get ahead inside of your business, your career, your life, your family life, whatever else you may be, right? There's so many positive things you can get from walking. Personally, I don't meditate as much. I'll do like specific meditations around like trauma release and stuff like that. That's a topic for another time. I did do a podcast on that a while back though, which was cool. But, again, like walking is typically what I do, and that's great because it burns calories, which is great. So it helps you to get in shape in a very low impact way that reduces your stress instead of increasing your stress, like going for runs and stuff, which can increase your stress. And then obviously it's going to help you in business to think things out and get clear. Now, journaling will also help you get clear and reduce your stress and help with recovery, help you get to sleep faster, especially if your mind tends to race when you're trying to get to sleep. And therefore, it's going to help you in your business and your life. Nutrition. We talked a little bit on nutrition, but you also got to make sure you get enough protein and enough calories to recover from your workouts. And I didn't go deep into this in nutrition, but if your calories are too low, there's another thing that can slow your metabolism down. So you got to be able to eat, if you're eating less than 10 times your body weight in calories per day, unless you're like 300 pounds or something like that, you got to be able, you got to eat a little bit more than that. Like, let's say you weigh 200 pounds and you're eating, 1,900 calories a day. You could get away with that, but, I've had guys, like I had a guy who he weighed 170 and he was running a business with 200 plus employees, and he was eating 1,500 calories a day. I'm gonna come on screen share so I can tell you guys the story. So he was eating 1,500 calories a day and working out 6 times a week, twice a day. And it was funny because he was so disciplined and so driven that even while running a business with 200 plus employees, he still was like, nope, I'm going to get my fitness under control. I'm going to take action. So he's about 173, about 5'7", and he was struggling to lose weight. He had a belly, he had a gut, and he was still in his late 20s. He wasn't even in his 30s or 40s, but because his cortisol was high from running the business, his cortisol, his stress hormone was high from overtraining and undereating, he struggled to lose weight. He was plateaued, his body was in survival mode, and his energy was suffering as a result. So getting him results was very easy and very simple. I actually had to just reverse diet him to 2,200 calories a day, and I allowed him to keep doing, cardio and boxing because he enjoyed doing that 6 days a week, but I reduced his lifting frequency down to 4 days a week so he could recover properly, and he actually got way better results. He lost 20 pounds in 90 days, and he actually got abs within 6 weeks, which is crazy because he almost had like all these pent-up gains that are ready to go. In fact, I'll even pull up his picture so you guys can see, because he's been kind enough to let me share his testimonial. He is an amazing guy. And I'll show you guys what his first 6 weeks look like, because that's what I used for the testimonial. It was the most dramatic part of his transformation. So check this out. Freaking amazing results. Like I said, he had a gut when he was training, all that stuff. But he was able to get abs pretty quick. And then his long-term transformation, I'll just show you guys some other time because I don't have it easily accessible. Probably should replace that image because his long-term transformation is amazing. I posted it on a couple of my other social media, so you guys might have seen that if you follow me other places. But yeah. So anyways, tying back into this though, you got to be on point with your recovery, and you can't overtrain, undereat, undersleep. Otherwise, you're not going to get results, and you're going to feel like crap, and it's going to negatively affect you in your business and your career and personal life. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is supplementation. I'm not big on supplements. I think that most of what you need to do, and I know for sure that most of what you need to do can be handled through nutrition and training and recovery. However, there are some supplements that can help you sleep and help you recover better. So I take vitamin C post-workout. I take 2,000 milligrams vitamin C because when you work out, your body produces both testosterone and cortisol. So it's kind of funny because working out will help you reduce your cortisol, but your body does produce cortisol when you work out and you're stressing your body. Taking vitamin C, 2,000 milligrams after your workout, drops that cortisol right away. So your testosterone level is going to stay high, but your cortisol drops. The problem is that if your cortisol stays high, it's going to reduce your testosterone a bit. And even though your testosterone will still be higher than if you hadn't worked out, and your cortisol will still be lower than if you hadn't worked out, if you are able to reduce your cortisol after working out, then your testosterone stays even higher and your cortisol gets even lower. And vitamin C helps you do that right after your workout. The other thing that I like to do is I will take magnesium before I go to bed. It helps my muscles relax. It helps me sleep better and deeper and just get better sleep and recover better. Plus, it's an essential nutrient in your body, a micronutrient that your body needs. So I'll take 500 milligrams of magnesium before I sleep. Sometimes I'll take 5-HTP before I sleep, but I don't take that as often because it can have an inhibitory effect on dopamine, which is a motivation chemical. It increases your serotonin, which helps you sleep and helps you feel, more social, more connected, all that stuff. But typically I want to be a little more dopamine heavy because 5 days a week I'm pushing my business goals forward, but I'll take more serotonin or 5-HTP on the weekends because I want to be more in a relaxed social mood on the weekends. So again, it just depends on you and your lifestyle and what you're doing. So maybe if during family time you take 5-HTP that gets you more in social mode, or on the weekends or whatever when you're relaxing with your family more or being social if you're single. But during the week, I don't like to take 5-HTP because it has an inhibitory effect on dopamine. But again, it will help you sleep. And if you're so jacked up on dopamine, you're so type A that you don't struggle with motivation at all, but you struggle to sleep, that'll help a lot. And then obviously cutting down on the caffeine, which you'll be able to cut down on caffeine because you have more energy when you fix your metabolism. Now, the last thing I want to dive into is habits, right? And this is kind of a mindset thing right here. It ties in with your schedule, and there are only 3 habits you need to get good results. But and actually, let's dive into those first. So the 3 habits are: you got to be able to prep your meals or order your meals from a meal prep company, or have one of your staff members or somebody order your meal preps for you. Maybe you delegate that to your chief of staff, or you have a chef or whatever. If you have a lot of money, and obviously if you don't have money, maybe you can't afford meal prep. You got to just use the slow cooker method that I cover on my other YouTube channel, the cooking channel. But you got to plan your nutrition properly. Again, you can do that on your own based on what I've taught you today, or you can find somebody who can help you with that. Or if you have questions on this, just comment down below, and I'm happy to do a deeper video on how to plan your nutrition, maybe address some of your specific questions as well if you comment them down below. Now, as far as training goes, you got to be able to train 3 to 4 days a week. Now, a lot of people think you got to train more than that. I don't have my clients train more than 3 to 4 days a week. Now, obviously, if you're like an athlete, right, and that's your primary goal and you don't have business goals or family goals or whatever else, then maybe you do go all in with your training and you train 7 days a week or 6 days a week. But it isn't optimal for most people because your recovery just can't recover from training hard 6+ days a week. But regardless though, when you train, you got to make sure you're doing the proper warm-ups, you're structuring your routines the right way, and your warm-ups the right way, and then obviously having the right routine on a weekly basis too. I'm probably going to do a video on this anyways, but if you have any specific questions on this that you want me to cover in the video, just let me know and I'm happy to cover those in the video too. It'll help me to produce a more relevant and better video for you guys, so please do comment down below and let me know. And then finally, you got to be able to get the right recovery. So again, we talked about this. We got to be able to structure our schedule around this, and I'll screen share my schedule with you guys too, so you guys can see how I set that up. Within my business, within my life, within my personal life, everything. I'll show you guys everything. You might not need a time block forever, but you need a time block until you have enough habits installed that this becomes automatic for you. Okay. There's a couple things that are going to help you here, and I'll dive into a little deeper on those habits in a sec. But there's 3 levels of change, right? There's habits, and those habits are often they actually are always a result of your mindset and your rhythm and everything else. But a lot of that is also a result of your environment. Okay, so if you're surrounded by 5 people who don't eat healthy, who don't sleep enough, who don't work out, guess what? It's going to be easy to fall into those habits and that mindset, and for it to be normal to just be overweight and out of shape and unhappy, right? And likewise, if you surround yourself with 5 fit people who prioritize their fitness because they know that it actually helps them in business and helps them be a better person inside of their family life as well, guess what? That's going to become normal to you. And so your mindset shifts, your habits shift as well. So it's so important you have the right environment, you surround yourself with the right people. In addition to this, it's important that you have the right mindset so you figure out what beliefs aren't serving you. If you think, hey, I'm too busy to do anything other than work, then guess what? You're going to be too busy to do anything other than work, and you're going to work until you die, and you're never going to be able to live life. But if you change your mindset and you say, hey, look, I got to prioritize myself, I got to carve out 2 to 3 hours a week to take care of my training and nutrition, because otherwise I'm just going to wither away and die 10 years early and not even be able to enjoy all this financial wealth that I'm creating, then guess what? You're going to actually get in shape, you're going to produce more results in business, you'll actually make more money, and you're going to be happier and enjoy your life. So you got to think, what mindsets are not serving me right now, and what mindsets and thoughts and beliefs and stories can I install in my mind to then serve me and help me get the results that I want, and help me install the habits that I want. And then from there, the habits are simple. You just got to make sure that you train, eat, and recover properly, and that's it, right? These 3 habits right here. Now, the cool thing is you'll intrinsically enjoy these things, okay? It's going to give you more energy. You're going to feel better in day-to-day life. You're going to look better because you're getting consistent results. And most importantly, as your mindset improves, this is a mindset thing, you're going to become at the cause of your life, at the cause of your results, instead of being at the effect of your circumstances. And guess what? When you take charge of your life and you become a leader, you step up as a leader and lead yourself first, you become at the cause, you're no longer at the effect, which makes you respect yourself more, you command more respect from others, you become a better leader. So let's say you have a business, the ROI you're going to get from this is you're going to be able to lead your team members more effectively, you're going to be able to lead your staff. If you work inside of a company, your teams and other coworkers are going to look up to you. And if you're a family man, you're going to be a better leader for your partner and obviously your kids. And if you're single, guess what? You're going to be more attractive to people who you want to meet. And then you're going to have more drive, you're going to feel more driven, you're going to have more confidence, and overall, your business and personal life are going to improve as well. Now, the next thing is we need to be able to schedule these things in so that we can actually make sure that they happen. Again, this becomes automatic, but I'll show you exactly what that looks like. So let's pop over to my schedule here, and I'll show you what that looks like. So right now I'm in content creation, and guess what I'm doing right now? I'm creating content, okay? That's what we're doing right now. And this is what my schedule looks like. So I actually like to put a little bit of white space in my calendar, and obviously you can see I have a lot of calls today, a lot of consultations with people who reached out, who want to take charge of their fitness goals. But it just depends. Like, what do I have? And I color code these things as a couple different things. So I've got sales, courses, relationships / social life, fulfillment / lead generation, Lynn Hours, which is a company I was working with, mansion workouts to some of the people who I train in person, munir.lazuni@gmail.com, which is like any sort of meetings. Oh, and it looks like I have 2 things for Lynn Hours, right? I also have gym / fitness in gray because, iron is gray. And then I have personal in black. Okay, so I color code these things. And what that allows me to do is it allows me to kind of, chunk these things together. Now, usually I'm in a pretty good rhythm with nutrition and training, so I don't have to schedule these things in, but sometimes when I have a really complicated schedule, I'll schedule it in, or I'll schedule in my workouts. Now, there was a time when I wasn't being consistent with these things, when I first started to see success in my business and I got really busy, I was hiring staff, all that stuff, really stressed, high pressure, time constraints. So that was when I had to really schedule these things in until they became habits again. But once you've done them for a while, you'll be able to then be in the habit a little bit better. Okay. I also schedule in social time, right? So like, for instance, when I'm going out and being social. I put this in these terms because that way I can see more of an ROI, because obviously if I'm just going out to be social and meet somebody, sometimes that can feel like a waste of my time. It feels like it's a bit of a story that I have, right? So then I put it in my calendar as this so that I can see an ROI that I'm going to get in business. And then obviously when I want to meet people and kind of do so in a more leveraged fashion, I'm able to host events and then invite a lot of people over so I can meet multiple people at the same time and create a little bit of a social circle, right? When I have in-person clients, I'll put them in my calendar, right? When I'm doing different things that help me to generate leads or create content or whatever, I put that in red. Or when I'm doing stuff that is involved with, fulfilling for clients, I also, I'll just color code that, right? So it just depends on what your schedule looks like and what is relevant in your life, but you got to time block these things in to make sure they happen, especially things that you struggle to be consistent with. The more you struggle to be consistent with something, the more important it is to time block it and then actually be accountable, which is part 2 of that, which I'm going to dive into right here. You got to find somebody you trust to hold you accountable and make sure that they do hold you accountable, right? So that might be an accountability coach. That might be your partner. That might be your best friend. That might be somebody who you know in your day-to-day life, maybe a buddy from the gym who has the results that you want inside of their life, who you can use in your environment to then hold you accountable to install the same habits and mindsets inside of yourself. So anyways, we got a chance to kind of briefly touch on all these topics here, and I'd love to know what you learned inside of this video. What was one gem? Like if a genie came right now and said, and this is something I learned from one of my mentors, if a genie came right now and said, what were your top 3 things that you learned? And after you write those 3 things down, I'm going to go poof, and then you're going to forget everything. You're only going to remember those 3 things. What would those 3 things be? And then once you've written those 3 things down, what would be the one thing? Okay, I want you to comment that down below and articulate it in a way that others can understand. The reason is that when you learn something and then you articulate it in a way that other people can understand, it helps you to retain that information better yourself. And I also want to hear what your guys' takeaways were, but also what your guys' questions were from this video, right? The next thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go and let me know what topics you'd like me to cover in future videos, okay? Again, I'm going to be producing a lot more content just like this, and I would love to know what you found relevant, what questions you have, what topics you'd like me to address. I get a lot of questions from people who I'm speaking to who are interested in like my programs and stuff, but on this free channel here where I'm just here to give you value and build my channel and really just help as many people as possible, I want to know what you guys in this audience want to hear, so please let me know inside of future videos. And then any topic that I covered today that you want me to go deeper into, just let me know. And obviously, if you're here on YouTube right now, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend if you got value from this. That way your friend can get value as well, and you can continue to learn everything that I have to teach you here and ultimately get really, really good results through everything that you're learning. Again, I hope this was valuable for you. Comment down below and let me know what you learned. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I look forward to seeing you guys inside of the next video.